now that we're on like the hot seat, like talk, like who's your coach that you say like might be like on the hot seat in 2026? Is there like I think you said you had a couple names. Like who's your main guy? You can get your other guys as well.
Yeah, I think Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State is definitely a guy who's on the hot seat. Now, Mississippi State is a really, really tough job in the SEC. I mean, it's probably a bottom three, bottom five job for sure
Yeah.
in the conference, just because I think they have so much working against them. Now, there's a ton of talent in the state of Mississippi. I think Mississippi produces more NFL players per capita than any other state. So they're up there. There's definitely a lot of talent in that state. But Jeff Lebby, I think they went one in 11, 2-10 his first year, and then 5-7 the second year. I just don't know how much better it's going to get down there. And then another name that I would give you is Dave Aranda down at Baylor. He went really good his second year. I think they went 12-2 and won the Sugar Bowl. But let me just read you the record since winning that Sugar Bowl: 6-7, 3-9, 8-5, 5-7. Yeah, you had an 8-win season in there, but on the whole, it's kind of trending downwards. And I just don't know how much longer folks at Baylor are going to give that.
Yeah, Auburn played Baylor in their opener last year, and I definitely felt very confident playing Baylor. But they definitely had a lot of talented players. They had a lot of talented players on offense. Their offense was never the problem. But Dave Aranda's always been a defensive minded guy, and Auburn struggled offensively all last year. They played three different quarterbacks all last year. I think Auburn put up 40 on Baylor. So that's like when we go like you're supposed to be a defensive mastermind, Dave Aranda, when you were at OSU. So like, why are we now at Baylor just getting scored on, getting the ball ran down our throat? Like, I feel like your main identity being a defensive mastermind, that should be your strong suit because the offense at Baylor wasn't the problem for what I've seen. Like they had a lot of talent on that Baylor offense that could score. So I just feel confident as an Auburn fan. Like we play Baylor again this year. Like I told my dad off the camera, I said we're gonna pistol whip Baylor. So I feel like if opposing fans are talking like that about your program this time. A lot of Baylor fans wanted him fired last year, but maybe money reasons, stuff like that, they couldn't do it. Sort of similar to the situation at Florida State. So we'll definitely see what happens this year. But for his own sake, he definitely needs to win like seven, 8 games to keep his job because I think the decision at Baylor is sort of like internally, okay, let's let his buyout go a little down. And if he does again, he's gone. Like they know that internally.
Right. Well, that was kind of the irony to me of the Baylor Auburn game last year because going into that game, both of those coaches really had a lot to prove, Hugh Freeze and Dave Aranda. And I thought whoever lost that game was probably not going to keep their job at the end of the season. But in that case, the guy who won the game, Hugh Freeze, he ended up getting fired, and Dave Aranda ended up keeping his job at Baylor. So, yeah, it'll be neat to see that rematch this year.
Yeah, because I just and it's in Atlanta, but it's really a home game for Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn to Atlanta's like an hour, so I don't really know like what Baylor can really do at this point because they're not just gonna add guys that don't exist to their roster because their roster is what it is at this point. Baylor's star running back last year, Bryson Washington, is Auburn's second string running back this year. Baylor's leading rusher for the past 2 seasons, so that would be fun. But my head coach that might be in trouble. I go to like Dabo Swinney at Clemson. I know he's a two-time national champion, but I just feel like the way college football is going with NIL, the transfer portal, I just feel like if you don't adapt with the times, and I feel like he's starting to realize that, but I feel like if you don't adapt with the times, it can pass you by. If you don't adapt, you're getting left behind while everybody else is doing what you're too stubborn to do. So I just feel like Dabo Swinney and Clemson, I don't know if it would even be a firing. That could sort of more be like a parting ways because I don't know if they would. I don't know how they would do that because I feel like if it's me and I'm the athletic director, I wouldn't fire Dabo Swinney because what he's done for our program, like I'm not the biggest like Clemson history guy. Like I know they weren't what Dabo Swinney did to Clemson type of relevant. So I just feel like they might need a different change of scenery in Clemson.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
he doesn't
Dabo,
perform
he
this
put
year.
Clemson on the map
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, I did, and I agree with you. I think if they did move on from him, I don't think they would ever fire him. He
Yeah.
deserves way more respect than that. I think it would be some kind of mutual parting of ways. I think he has a longer leash, though. I would disagree because this is going to be 2026. So he won his first national championship basically 10 years ago. 2016 season was when he won his first. In 2 years will be the 10-year anniversary of his second. I feel like he's got at least until then to somewhat right the ship. And it doesn't mean he has to win another national championship again, but I think he's got to get Clemson back to being 10-2, 11-1 at their absolute worst and making the playoff every year.
Yeah. So last year I felt like Clemson and LSU were the two teams I felt like had the biggest chance of winning the national championship last year. It sounds so foolish now, but I promise you at the time, like a lot of other people were they weren't picking both of them, but they were picking one or other. Whoever won that Clemson LSU game had a real chance at winning the Natty and even being a lock at the college football playoff. So
Right.
they had guys like Peter Woods, Tamari, and Parker. Cade Klubnik was supposed to have like a Heisman type of year. So, and they had good receivers, TJ Moore and a lot of other guys. That I know they had some injuries with some of their receivers at the beginning of last year, but I just feel like last year, like it sort of felt like the last dance. Like if they don't win it this year with the most talented roster they've had in a while, with all the talent they're losing and the way they haven't been recruiting high school like they used to, the way they don't attack the portal like everybody else, it just feels like where is this talent going to come from? I know the Clemson athletic directors and boosters probably feel the same way behind the scenes because it's like, okay, we just had this very talented roster. Everybody's gone. We're not recruiting the portal that great, so we can't replace it. Um, we're not recruiting high school that well, so it's like, do we just need like a change of scenery? Like, do we just need to get a fresher guy in here? That's the only thing I say. I don't think Dabo Swinney is on the hottest seat in college football. I think there's a guy in this conference at Florida State that's on a way hotter seat than him.
I think, yeah, he may already be off the hot seat, that guy at Florida State. I think it's just kind of a matter of um, letting his buyout come down just a little bit to ease the financial burden for the people in Tallahassee. But yeah, it's definitely not that hot for him. But back to your point about LSU and Clemson, that's why you write your predictions in pencil so you can erase them as the season goes on. But that was the biggest surprise to me too, and I think a lot of people looking in. You saw that game, Clemson LSU, a couple of teams both in the top 5, top 10 for sure, and you're thinking both of these teams are probably going to make the playoff. The winner is probably in the driver's seat to play for the national championship game down the road. And then one of those teams loses their coach. The other team has 9 draft picks, but can't make the playoffs. So
That's what I'm saying. Like Clemson had it almost like by anybody like you watch the NFL draft, Clemson. Like
they had some horses.
you're like okay, like I already knew they had that talent because I picked them to do what they're gonna do. Like, but you say okay, Clemson, like what just happened? Like why are you guys underachieving? You almost had double digit draft picks. Like it doesn't make sense. And they're losing so much talent. Like, is it supposed to get better now? Like they're starting Christopher Vizina, the quarterback from Birmingham, Alabama, where I'm from, but it's like, I'm rooting for the guy, but like, is he supposed to like just be better than Cade Klubnik was? Like I just don't know like where Clemson is right now. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, can it really go up from here? That's where I'm sort of am.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.